of which Body's been dropped one by Kenny S, I would imagine. He's got Kevlar as well. Apex starting things off, though, in the middle area with the block.
Put it out, though, and G2 have some positioning on A, but it's still a little bit troublesome. That's a very nice tap there from Sunny, and so now the pressure is really on for Kenny S and the Body. Bomb does go down, so there is one thing that they can be happy about, but otherwise the round is lost, and it didn't really look like Mousesports were ever really in doubt of the result in this one. They seem pretty comfortable after the trade in mid, and they'll start off well on the CT side. And this is really, like, these matches now, I think we might start to expect that these teams will have to pull a little bit deep into their playbooks, because as suggested, for every single team, all these maps are must-wins. There is definitely a world where if Mousesports lose both maps against G2, that it'd be impossible to recover with how competitive the field is.
Yeah, I mean, if you haven't qualified for the LAN, that's more important than actually being at the LAN, right?
Yeah.
So whatever you were saving for it, this is when you should probably use it.
First and second pop flash to make a play into main, and with the bomb carrier around Squeaky, they will hear those plays being made, and maybe that will help them abandon the ship there. Well, the Apex is still prodding around the entrance to main. The bomb's being dropped on the floor now over towards A, and Oscar will be close enough to have heard that. So there is information from Mousesports. However, they will not want to necessarily overextend to try to abuse that information. There's Oscar. His thoughts are confirmed. Now the bomb will be smoked off. The quick peek, though, will take Apex down as well, and Mixwell will be picked off in the sunroom at the same time. So that is pretty good going so far. There's only 2 kills in these 2 rounds for G2, and with Mousesports being on the CT side, obviously this will be a key round. The AKs are coming out, so G2 will have to change those statistics quickly.
We were talking about statistics on the show, and I was actually wondering if there's a correlation between how many SMP kills are gotten in a match and how that affects the outcome of matches overall, just by how much money you make. So we really see that teams try to funnel all their frags into these high-earning weapons, but we don't actually know how much impact that has to the economy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just having a couple extra grenades for a professional team can really go a long way to swing around. So much to be explored in the future of CSGO from that perspective. Either way, for G2, right now they don't have too much utility left, speaking of that, and there's no Molotovs. They're sort of in a position where the remaining utility really has to get them into map control, because right now they don't have really anything to speak of. A main, I suppose. No presence towards B, and that's Mousesports cheating players towards A now. They've got 4 that are ready for a defense there, and that's seemingly where G2 will go.
That smoke in main is glorious, because all the smoke is inside main. And if you look at the CT smoke in mid, it was all in mid rather than inside T warehouse, which the Ts can explode out of. Sunny spotting some players here, but a bit delayed on his engagement. Smoking, Molly's a forklift. The other option might have been quad, but NBK there with 2-man spray on very quickly indeed, and Oscar has a lot to do. He is surrounded, he has the bomb, but how did he stay alive? He doesn't, but he's jumping to get legged at worst case, and now they can plant the bomb.
Pretty decent from Oscar. Does get 2 kills despite being isolated. Gives a chance in now for Rops as he dies through the smoke. He knows that smoke is pretty much a GG if you let it sort of just sit there and let the Ts get into position. But regardless, the round will be won by G2. And again, Mousesports, they had 4 players ready to go. Or actually, no, that's interesting. I just looked at the minimap. Just as I recall, just as G2 were moving towards that B bomb site, Mousesports had 4 on A. But then when I looked at the push coming in, they actually rotated someone to B, so I'm not sure actually what happened there. Either way, G2 have put Mousesports in a rather awkward position, but this might change things for Mousesports. Sunny, oh, NBK, was he blind? I'm not sure.
Just full blind.
Freiberg used to throw that smoke, that flashbang to Ninjas in Pyjamas, if I remember correctly. That's when I first saw it. Nice. And this is the power of the French teams on Cash. Give them the AKs, and Ed shots will reign free. It was interesting. I think it was Sunny on the A site in the previous round. Chose to molly forklift. A lot of people might have opted for quad, but it's interesting to see the the choice is there. Choice being made. Actually, it's probably more powerful towards forklift.
I think you want to regret you want to make a player regret playing forklift because it's like really strong, but it's so easy to nade from squeaky and A main and stuff. You really gotta pick the right rounds to play it, where you don't feel like they're gonna punish you. Would see the flash is good, but that's gonna happen sometimes. You know, you want to peek late, but at the same time, you don't want the flash to run out if somebody's really far back and they main.
I have a nice flashbang from quad for a T post plant. So if you have somebody forklift hiding behind that wall, it goes over the forklift and under the balcony. So basically right in front of the corner where they are. So if anybody's anywhere in that direction, you can just pop out immediately afterwards. And they have to look away from it. Do you know what it is? I don't know what I call it, Londers.
Fired off.
Fired off flashbang, exactly. How did you know?
I'm very smart.
Pretty easy rounds to finish off there for Apex. G2 moving against another buy round from Mousesports, but it won't be a particularly great one. This is one of those awkward buys for the CTs in the sense that you kind of can't get the AWP and you can't really get the full utility you want. So someone has to sacrifice maybe two people, and that'll be Chris J. He loves doing it though. One of the, perhaps the player that uses the MP7 the most on a professional level, and we'll see him bring it back out for comfort here as well. 1,700 bucks. Well spent in Chris J's mind, but we'll see whether they can get some value out of it. He is going to be playing very close on mid, so it's a good position for it.
It's not, that's confusing. I wonder if he really made noise there. It seemed like Sunny falling off the boost actually made noise, but okay. Oscar trying to make it seem like he gave it up, or make it seem like he got up. I don't know.
Maybe he wanted to draw out some fire through the smoke as well. It's always a possibility. Find some traces. Especially if you know your position sort of given away. You have some control there to maybe make a info play with that.
Hello. Oh, the flashbang above the vent for Chris J to face, but it goes slightly too low, so Chris J will get blinded and barbecued almost at the same time. Rob's trying to correct some space now, and Body will find it. Often you would see the CT jumping on the back box. I think that was what Body was looking for, but Rob's smart enough to switch it up. Doesn't work out for him either way. 3-on-3, retake attempt here for Mousesports.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. They don't have too much utility, but they have just enough. The Molotov on Sunny could be very useful. Tossing that into the back of the actual bomb sites will be very good for eliminating potential positions that they could be holding. And there's a single flash on Oscar. So there is some stuff to work here. There's a Molotov into the back of the bomb site. Kenny Esto, lovely angle using the crouch there to great effect. Still die though. Stico making a go of this, but in the 1v2 and with no nades left, he's unable to accomplish all that much. 2 will survive for G2, and they will wipe out the Mousesports money once again. So another save is in store.
I know people like to read into every little thing. You may notice that Kenny S is using his France tag, and Mix was using the Wololos tag, and everybody else using the G2 tags. Definitely conspiracy boys. Let's get them Reddit posts on the go. Let's get that cauldron hot. That is a cheeky peek from Rops, showing some presence towards B while there are 3 people in mid. Manages to get away with it for the time being. Mixwell keeping an eye on things. Oh, he's got to be careful on these eco rounds. You can see he's not going too quickly or too close. Look at the numbers now in the vent area. And they will die from carbon monoxide poisoning.
Everyone's got a lot of money on this round.
Chris J considering second AWP?
I was thinking about that too. The one man with the silence in 4.
You'll love it. It's really cool to see some of the professionals sort of able to create something of a character for themselves, an identity with Chris J, MP7, the M4, A1. Body gonna get some action going on towards here, towards a checker's position, and he will be successful. But there's surely no way you still think that there could be another player in this position, just hiding behind the box. Rob's easy frag for him, looking for the second player. Could have been a bit sketchy there, but he does manage to make the frag work in the end. And G2 now starting to rally towards that middle position as they spot Chris J pushing in the 4v4, now 4v3 in favor of G2, and that's going to actually change their mind to go towards B. They know that he's sort of a support player in mid, and now Robs is alone.
Completely changed his position. Last seen in checkers, but now his scope will give his position away. I think he rescoped in there, so it is possible to molly default from outside the window area through sunroom. NPK running distraction, trying to pull players away from the B bomb site. They know Robs is there. They can use a numbers game, that 2 versus 1 perhaps. But he's changed his position again, and now he's been smoked out of the site. Molotov in response, but what can he do? There's nobody in B. Dare he make a play? Even if he sees a foot in that small corner, surely they move across too fast. Perhaps not. Oh, Sunny! At an angle. Mixwell's got the bomb down though, but he's got to be quick. He needs to thin these numbers out. He knows one's high, looking for a low ground player, and he's smart. He knows what's going on, and he clutches it on his own Mixwell. Walolos Mixwell takes the AWP as well. 4K for him in that round, and he has a spawn to pick mid, so he should take the AWP back.
Not to take away from the clutch, but I think Sunny ends this round if he just finishes Mixwell coming out of vents, because there wouldn't have been enough time to get the bomb and plant again. And he was shooting a player who was planting, so if he survived long enough to be able to kill his teammate, he certainly would have got that kill as well.
See if there can be somewhat of a recovery here, because G2 are really building a lot of momentum. Confidence is building and building. Chris finds a very tidy angle there. Apex unsuspecting. Punished. Now Chris, will he go for the push? He's already shown that he's looking for that in previous rounds, and he will still go for it. Recognizing that they're not in a position to punish him. Looks like he's going to keep pushing as well now. Oscar is going to get some info towards A main, and that will only encourage Chris J to make efforts here for the flank, but I don't know if his teammates can hold on the site in the meantime.
Sunny waiting for a cross towards Forklift, trying to play close quarters with the UMP. Molotov will slow Chris J down. They know what's possible. Sunny making the play, doesn't work out for him. Now it's Robs with the scout. It's a good start on MBK. But we'll see what he chooses to do. Going towards the car position now. There are players on the high ground. Oh, doing some good damage here. Very much worth. 7-2 though, in favor of G2. Don't look like they will be slowing down anytime soon.
Yeah, this is definitely a very big start. A very big start. I think it's after that save, Mousesports are giving themselves the best opportunities to win with the amount of money they're saving for, which is really good. But there was some tough mid-rounding to deal with, like on that previous round with the B hit and MBK selling a small fake towards A. Chris actually speeds up his lurk this time, pushing through middle much earlier in the round than he did previously. But Sunny gets caught at the exact same moment. He's also unsuccessful.
Some pretty damn good damage has been done to both MBK and Apex, though. Both very, very weak, but still 5 strong, and they've got good utility set left as well. It's actually a very different looking round if MBK and Apex died, because that would mean that there would be no utility at all remaining, which would have been awkward. But Robs, we've seen him and his hijinks on that B-bomb side many times previous. If he can just get a couple kills, maybe there's a possibility here that his teammates can somehow mount a retake, and they surely know that the B site's being taken. Now the rotation will commence. Robs has to get 2, he'll get 2, and there's options now for more as well. However, a nice wall bang there through that bomb site box. Kenny S will do the damage. Now 2v3 ensues post plant, but with the AWP in hand, maybe Oscar doesn't want to risk this one. Indeed, the save called, and another round lost by Mousesports. It's looking hopeless at the moment. 8-2, that's kind of, it's getting out of hand.
Yeah, it's getting out of hand. I mean, they tried to aggressive play this round and like failed both of them, but only slightly. I mean, they did 90 damage to each player if it was a 4v4. Like, imagine if Apex died in that push and they were up men, and they probably would have gone for this retake, and it's a very different round already. So you could say that maybe they don't feel very unconfident. Maybe they just feel like they're having trouble getting started this match.
Mousesports need 4 rounds and the pistol rounds in the second half, as a minimum, I would say. I think I think the French players with the AKs is a problem on Cash in general. This is always doable for the likes of G2. But Mousesports, I mean, they can have a half like this in response when they move to the T side, but they need more than 2 rounds for sure. They need more than 2 rounds. Oscar getting his Fox on. Body aware of the possibilities. Often you'll see a T, if they're doing the usual grenade executes towards B, they'll throw in a pop flash in case of any aggression. And Body's patient, happy to just hold the angle for the time being. And why not? It's 5 versus 3 at this point. Ooh. That's a shot from Body, and Oscar is a lone man now, and he's about to find the bomb. Hello. Does he smoke it off? If he smokes it off, he can't AWP the players, so no reason to do that. Close quarters. Oh, he's missed.
Does he know?
Oh, he's so close.
Oh my god. Oh dear, that's
You see the
awkward.
thought process, though. It's cool to see that as it happens.
That is so absolutely wild, because he was blind to the point that he didn't see the bomb leave, and then was still aware that MBK could have pushed back. The man's crazy. He could have, when MBK was coming through, he got closer and closer to the wall and was prepared to trace and no-scope as opposed to go farther back and hold an angle scope. That's Oscar's comfort zone.
I guess he faced in case MBK peeks before the flash went off and ended up eating the flash. And Stico will eat some shots from Kenny and Apex. The Molotov towards the sandbag position to flush any CTs out, and mid is theirs. Or is it? Chris J. Oh, that is a dirty second kill from him.
Yeah,
Comment about CZ.
The instant tick of the chat, indeed. That's hilarious. We can only assume it is Rage. That's what I want to believe. That's what I believe.
It's laugh or cry, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was very nice from Chris, but we can see that it won't amount to too much in the end. G2 able to defend the additional, or rather the follow-up assailants in the form of Mousesports players. But now there's only one. Rops on that B-bomb site, and it looks as though MBK is going to figure that out. And looks like they may be comfortable to just split hit. Rops being spotted. Headshot on to MBK. Very nice. Getting some good headshots.
Oh,
Another one from Rops. Number 3 perhaps, but no. Denied. Shut down. Put down. Kenny will take the round for G2. 10-2. That is an enormous scoreline. Their enormity cannot be understated.
Cannot ignore the enormity.
Too much enormousness.
150.
Ooh.
140.
Oh, that looks so close. Now we get Chris on the AWP. Sorry.
I got hit by that recently for the first time.
How'd it feel?
Yeah, what was the process like?
I was like, oh. Took a while to register, a second to register, and I was like, okay. Well, I guess I'm not playing this round.
This round is cancelled.
Mousesports still looking for round number 3. Ooh, got a sniff of someone. But not much more than that. Mousesports getting annihilated in the first half of game number 1. Not a way to start your day when you've got 4 games to play, but game isn't over, of course. But I'm telling you, man, French teams on Cash, this is a factor. They just go in, time and time again.
But James, it's not analysis. Like, what does that mean?
This is what it means. You can see what it means. You're witnessing what it means, Lord. That is analysis.
It, but I just don't understand the correlation.
I think it's the openness of the map, the AKs, and the style of the players on G2 just lend themselves to matches like this. We used to see really good French derbies that were absolutely crazy until the one where Envy just had the most like horrific game of all time. And then we were saying we don't know what we just saw, and the coach was like, I don't know either. But before then, we used to have like these mighty French derbies on Cash. But I think they're capable of doing it against other teams, as evidenced here. A lot of it is the T side and the AKs, and they use them really well. And obviously the freedom afforded to them by the map on the T side.
Yeah, so they picked just
You what?
don't want to interrupt
Is there a
the
sentence
action
there?
just yet.
You kind of sound like you're dying as you're talking.
I'm sorry. They picked Dust 2 versus G2 at Sydney, and they got decimated.
Yeah, very comfortable to play these maps, which really favor that mechanical skill and the faster-paced, trade-based game style on that T side, and it's once again working out quite effectively onto this A side. Slowly edging their way in, one frag at a time, and another round lost by Mousesports. So looking rather demoralized, and we are seeing some spots where we haven't really seen anybody from Mousesports have much to show for themselves. Normally with Mousesports, you're going to see 1 or 2 players, and it can be anyone on the team, really have a good game, regardless of what's happening. But it really seems like everyone's struggling at the moment, and the 12-2 scoreline is certainly only going to make G2 more confident in their fast game style.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a map like this favors a team who has high individual skill, but both these teams have that. It's just that right now you have to be aggressive on CT side in the current cash CT meta, and Mixwell actually doesn't realize that that wasn't his teammate Smoke.
And if it was, it would have had to be an awfully failed connector smoke, which is so it's quite a strange one, but never mind. Again, doesn't really amount for much. Once again, we're watching Rops alone on the B1 side, and he won't get anything. So 30-2 half can absolutely be turned around if Mousesports gets a good start on that T side, get the win on the pistol round, and then get a couple rounds together, win a couple buy rounds. Can absolutely see them doing the same. I think, as you stated, Mo, it's the T side is favored these days, and it can be really hard if the money gets out of hand on the CT side, as you have to be aggressive and take big risks.
Well then, I think, yeah, the issue here is, even if they win a pistol and so on, is that the margin for error is very, very small. G2 needing only 3 rounds. So let's see what they can do. It all starts with round number 1 in the second half. See who lands the headshots. NBK getting there eventually. Can take quite a few bullets if you don't hit the heads. Can do, especially with the Glock, if you're just sinking bullets into Kevlar, you can land 6-7 shots and still not get a kill. And from the looks of things, this just may not be the map for Mousesports today.
Yeah.
Well, they need it to be. I mean, these are super important. They've got to.
It's 1 of 4 games though.
It's 1 of 4, yeah.
But I think they already have 8 losses.
They already have 8 losses. So.
I feel like
a lot of teams have around those losses though.
well,
they've got the most.
The top 4 have 7.
Yeah.
So there would have to be a lot of failure. It starts to get very hairy for Mousesports. But maybe they can save this. Steeko and Chris able to trade out here. No Kevlar on either of the players, so it's a very good effort so far. But NBK lurks above, waiting for Steeko to make a move. NBK can wait for the plant if he wants to play it the safest possible. And then he knows exactly where that Steeko is on the site. So that information allows him to make a more informed decision into how he pushes, and there it is. He's going to hear that. He knows that Steeko has to be on the bomb site, which is going to allow him to eliminate a lot of the dangerous positions.
If you give a player enough time, they always end up going to oranges, so I like that Steeko didn't actually commit there.
Okay. Oh, he can't make it work. He took his shoes off. He was going ninja mode, trying to creep around. But an assassin he was not.
That was such an important kill. Look how patient he is, Chris J. The P250, even the shots upstairs, didn't get that kill, but just very patient. You respect the gun, it will reward you. That's a note for people at home, especially with these pistols. If you shoot them too fast, it'll just be out of control. But if you use the patience you saw from Chris J and take more considered shots, you're more likely to be more accurate rather than just spamming and clutching the mouse too hard and just being all over the place. It takes a while to learn that patience, but if you keep focus on it, it will reward you. You'll be a much better pistol player.
dark, the whack-a-mole. And I was about to say that this is a potentially very scary round if the first frag is lost. And they're playing sort of a pick-based style now. They really need to consider how they can use their utility to leverage a bomb site now. Because, and we can see them doing that, rotating 3 players towards A, keeping, for the moment, drops hanging out towards B storage, keeping some additional focus there.
Mixwell heard of this rotation though, because he was behind the box on B, so as soon as Rops rotated away, the whole team is now making their way towards the A site, slowly streaming in, but will they get there in time? Oh, Sonny having a look. He does have some cover to plant this bomb, but how does he escape this corner?
Ooh, that... Oh, MBK will get it in the end.
Oh
Oh,
my
no!
God.
The headshot through the smoke. That's outrageous. He'll go down, but he's created a man advantage situation, and G2 will try to leap on top of that, but they can't quite get the damage. Deco and Chris, again, the last 2 remaining in the round, keep things alive for Mousesports.
Scary times.
Oh. Oh. I love it.
In their face, baby. Second accidental jump we saw in the round. Rops had one over towards B with the Galil. And the thing is, even if Mousesports prevail as they should in this round, again, the loss bonus is rising. G2 will very quickly have full buys, and even if they lose the first buy rounds, they'll pretty much be at max loss bonus. So it'll be strong buy after strong buy after strong buy. Apex is very dead. USPs are out, and so is Rops. See if these CTs can have any more success. They are naked, of course, saving money for that buy rounds. And here it comes.
They got a couple more AK kills than they would have liked to, but those are some good checkers, Molotovs, and nades to clear things out. I think they actually doubled up on one of the Molotovs they threw to make sure that Apex died if he was holding that one wall that he was standing behind. Now they upgrade the Mac 10s. They keep the UMP. It's got good armor penetration. It's not like the best T-side round or T-side weapon that you can use instead of a rifle, but it's not too bad.
There's a pop flash to refer to round or 2 ago. Yeah, that Molotov was never going in the right place.
It's still a pretty dangerous round for Mousesports. MBK's in A main, so that's a lot of information and control. Pop flash out there mid. Apex suspects, I think, the player behind white box. So Mousesports do have this tentative control in middle, and they are very well set up for a B split, but G2 have read this with, again, the previous push from MBK towards A main. They'll go a bit more defensive as his teammates rotate towards a more B-based setup, which is a smart movement there from G2. Ooh, that's an important frag. Op gone there for G2. Apex so exposed, taken down as well, out of position, and now out of the round.
See how far G2 go here. They've lost their AWP, which is important for Mousesports. So they will break the first buy of G2, Mousesports. But it's still a long way to go. 2 sniper rifles now for the side in yellow. So let's see how this continues. Hunting for these G2 players, and they will need to make things as expensive as possible, although, again, once that max loss bonus comes in, it won't matter so much. But the less guns, the better at all times. Good policy to have. Sonny clearing the A site. That will funnel them in. But my body's telling me yeah. I wonder if he still uses the mouse that I gave him at last year's London Finals.
What did you give him?
His mouse died, and I had the same mouse at home, so I got a taxi home to pick it up and brought it back for him.
What a guy.
But it was funny because it was it's the mouse I use now, but I wasn't using it at the time, so it was like dusty. And I think there was dust on the sensor. You know when your mouse just looks at the ceiling all of a sudden, like that happened to him during a match.
Oh man. What was it? Was it a?
Well, we don't talk brands unless they pay
yeah.
elite orders. Come on now, we got a lot to teach you.
I wasn't sure.
Eco round for G2. They've got Mixwell on the M4. Up close. He'll get smoked like a kipper. 2 Deagles remain. We look towards the next buy round of G2. But we're looking at a 6-round deficit now. A lot better than before, of course.
It's funny how they're actually giving them the same treatment that G2 gave the Mousesports on the T side, with Body entering P almost alone. Here they're spending a couple more people, but they're bullying them in the same way. And they're actually getting the site pretty clean. It's actually going to be a problem for G2, and there are a couple ways that they can respond, but early B hits are tough because you can go flash and A main, but if they're going to rush B anyway, getting that info doesn't actually help you that much. It speeds up rotations by only like 1 or 2 seconds. But instead, they could more heavily stack B and try to push that, or play a 1-2-2 and take Vent's control, and that might do a lot better for them. So I think one way they could put pressure on this B split is by going to mid, taking Vent, or focusing on checker and smoking B early and then getting Vent, and that makes it a lot more difficult for the T's to come in comfortably.
CT side of cash these days, it's not as fun as it used to be, especially not when the map first came out and it was very CT-sided. Very, very CT-sided. No one knew how to play the T side. Now look at it, the situation.
It makes sense that there's the smokes. There was so much more potential for maps for T side, for T players to learn smokes, and for them to put, there's so many places that you can put smokes on T side, but on CT side it's like the best smoke's the choke point. So you almost cap out of your potential a little bit more quickly the longer you run a map on CT side.
Well, the double orbs could be the answer for G2, and will they differ the approach otherwise? Fast movement from Mousesports, a lot of players here, and the flash comes in, and that will be perfect to deal with Apex, as the smoke is there to cover the cross, as they now can freely take checkers. Kenny S on the site, nice first frag. Where's the next player though? Oh, Mixwell will catch it. If Rob's got that kill, Kenny S's position is incredibly difficult to play, but instead, they've stemmed the tide, but that's a beautiful shot from Oscar. Perhaps there's still hope in the round for Mousesports. Yes.
It's a crazy frag, especially after the previous duel where Kenny was on the low ground, which is why probably he was on the high ground there, but Oscar proves to be too much once again. Is there a fighting chance here for Stico? There's a minute on the clock. He's carrying the bomb, and he could have rotated towards A, although the smoke gives his position away now, and the CTs are not too far. Going for the plant next to the smoke, the fake perhaps. He's going to push through the smoke, a brazen attempt, but he does have position. And this is not really being considered by the CT side just yet. He could get 2 kills here if he goes on the high ground. Oh, this could be a disaster. Mixwell suddenly realizing what could be happening. The spray isn't there just yet. But Bonnie running out of bullets. Now it's down to the 1 versus 1. 35 seconds and he's making his way towards A.
Oh no. Oh, that's such a shame for Stico. He did so much, so well. But you can never know. He's assuming that player's towards checkers, perhaps, but still.
MBK got a kill from Vent earlier, so he thought, oh, he could still be Vent.
Yeah.
That was, I think that was the better decision for Stico to run through CT because of MBK's like last known position.
Yeah.
But yeah, MBK pushing all the way to GT. Just a couple seconds from getting away, but that was quite a play.
On the bright side, he made that considerably expensive. Only 1 person survived, so there's big reset value here for Mousesports.
That's a good point.
Big reset value. Oh no!
Wow. That's a miss. Sunny, that's so smart. Doesn't go for the trade, actually goes through the smoke. And he's waiting now for the re-emergence of MBK. That is so smart from Sunny. That is such a play. And look at what he's done for his teammates now. Beautiful pop flash in for Chris to eliminate Mixwell. And Mousesports now send things back to a 2v2. Crazy round, great plays from both sides.
Sunny got quickly traded. I don't know if he knows where he got traded from. Maybe it was towards Car, I'm not even sure myself, but they're looking to make a fast play now into the B bomb site, but they've spotted Kenny. Do they assume he's on his own? How do they get to the site? It's a tight angle from Kenny, and Rob stops in perfect place for Kenny to get the frag. There is time on the clock here for Chris J. But he's got to be really careful. He knows these angles as well as Kenny. He's pre-firing, and he knows he's likely to stand here. Down to 16 HP now, Kenny, and the Molotov is flying in. Is it too far in the back? He's exposed, and that's match point for G2.
This is a very cool round. I like how it opened up. That was pretty fun. Although, Oscar, you don't see him missing those shots, really. And then that's sort of where everything sort of started off. So, yeah, it's been a tough map for Mousesports. There's still a great chance for them to get back into it. Again, a team like them, I feel like they're less susceptible than some of the lesser experienced teams and less confident teams to sort of make a comeback with no margin for error such as this. But still, Deagle, lack utility, Galil not going to be helping the situation. Hello. Yes. Oh, it's just he knows. Oh, Shadow even showed herself there for body. But he knows there's at least one more in mid, I think. There's 3 players here for G2 still. Strong presence in mid for the French.
Oh my god, they have evacuated B completely. They've got someone at sandbags, but Apex is really taking his time with this.
Oh my god. The baits.
What is... Okay.
There it goes. All chances of winning that round. And here is the match for G2. I think 13 rounds in the first half. It's going to be extremely hard to come back from that, even on maps such as Cash and the T side. Good effort though towards the end, but ultimately G2